another exciting episode of the $1 Million Peddlers. I'm Papergoy, and today I'm going to do a quick little solo video about something or other that I've noticed out there and that I'd like to talk about quickly, and that is about comic book prices. Now, everybody kind of feels that there is a bubble currently in the collectibles market, whether it be sports cards, comic books, coins, etc., etc. A lot of things are going for very, very high prices. Now, they're down from their peak. At one point, PSA Jordans were trading at $35,000. Last time I looked, they were going for like $15,000. And I'm sure they've gone down since then. So some of the high is off of the market. That being said, I've just noticed a few things are definitely going for a fair deal less money, and they're not necessarily that top tier item either, like a Jordan rookie. So I will bid on heritage auctions from time to time for comic books, and what I do is, when we used to go to public auctions locally, it was called "Don't Let Them Steal It," and by that I mean, you see some items that are going to go up for auction, and you know they're worth, $100, $150, something or other like that. And you see somebody has it for $5. You throw a bid on it because you're not going to let them steal it. You're not going to let them have it for $5, even though you're not particularly interested in it. You might bid them up to $25. If they drop it on you at $20, you win the item, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess I did okay. I got a $150 item for $20. Okay, so it's the theory that you don't let people steal things at auctions, that if you know about it and you know you can sell it, you at least make them pay partial market price on stuff. Not that they still wouldn't make good money at $25, but you didn't let them get it at $5. And a lot of people subscribe to the theory. Mr. Magazine and I certainly do as well. So when I'm bidding at Heritage, if I don't really want the item, I'm not going to let you steal it. In other words, I'm not going to let you get a $1,000 comic book for $50. I'll throw a $100 bid on it, and if I win it, great. You're at least going to pay something for it. Now, usually that ends up going for, $800, $1,000, $1,200, so my $100 bid was completely inconsequential. But every once in a while, a bid holds up, and it certainly surprises you. A few weeks ago, I bought a graded, and I do not remember the grade yet. It has not come in yet, but a graded Little Lulu #1. And I do not recall what I paid for it off the top of my head. However, I did pay less than guide price for it, and it's a graded comic. So I was happy to do that. I had put a price in beneath what it was allegedly worth in the price guide. It's been graded. It's got the advantage, of the grading fees and all that stuff as well. And I ended up getting it, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. At some point, I'll end up selling it. No big deal. I'm not going to get rich off of that, but I got a decent enough deal on the comic book. That was a week ago or 2 weeks ago, something or other like that. So then I went to the auction online the other day, and there was a comic book. And one thing about the Little Lulu is it's not a heavily traded comic book, and it's not a comic book in high demand. It's a Little Lulu comic book. There's not a lot of action on it. It's not superhero. It's got, some value. It's from the 1940s, I believe, and it's, an older book, and it's in fairly high grade for a book from that age. So can't argue with that, but it isn't something or other there's a ton of demand for. So I ended up bidding on a Captain America #100, graded 7.5, CGC graded 7.5. And for those of you who don't really know comic books, it's a minor key, probably a middling key. It was the first issue of Captain America in his own title, since the 1950s. So it came out in, I believe, 1967 or 68, something like that, I believe. He had been in Tales of Suspense before that. He came over into Captain America with #100. It's a desirable issue. It's not a, key to end all keys. It's not first appearance of Spider-Man or anything like that, but it's an in-demand issue. So one of them came up, and I put a bid in on it. And I had taken a look at the prior sales on it. And I want to give you some quick data. I know this is going to be kind of boring, but I do want to give you some data. July 26th, one went for $690. On December 27th, one went for $582. So that was 2.5 months ago, $582. January 10th, one went for $1,140. So that was 2 weeks after the prior one, and it went from $582 to $1,140, 2-week difference. Then January 24th, which is another 2-week difference, it went for $720. Okay, that's right in between the other two, makes sense, a $700 book. Then February 28th, which was just 2 weeks ago, it went for $720. I think we've kind of established a market. You throw out the high and the low, it's about a $720 book. So that's reasonable. One came up for bid, and I bid fairly early in the auctions, and I said, I'm not going to let anybody steal it. And I threw a bid on it that with buyer's premium was $400. So essentially I'd be getting a $720 book for $400. I ended up winning the bid at $396, I believe it was. So just a tad bit below what my high bid was as well. So we'll call it $400. This book has gone from $720 to $400 in a period of 2 weeks. And again, it's not an obscure book. It's a fairly well traded book. It's a 7.5, so it's a decent enough grade for that comic book. There are always going to be people out there wanting it. It's always going to be in demand. And I picked it up for 60% of recent value on it. I feel sorry for the person that paid $1,140 around Christmas time, because I picked it up for about half of that price, but actually for about a third of that price. But I find this frightening. I find it frightening because could this be the first shoe to drop in the market? When a mid-level key has that kind of volatility and ends up going for $400. Now, this is fairly important. It's Heritage Auctions. It's a auction house that gets a lot of people going to it. It's not it's not like I stumbled upon it at some little country auction in the backwoods and I got it for a lot less than value. This is the same auction house that has sold 5 of them in the last 9 months for an average of $700 a piece. For it to sell for $400 in a time of rising inflation, I see as being scary, to be quite honest with you. Perhaps it was a one-off. Perhaps I really can't explain it. I mean, it was the weekend when daylight savings time. Maybe people thought the auction was ending an hour later than it was, or whatever hour. I don't know, however all that all works. Maybe they fell back instead of springing forward. I don't know. But it wasn't a super busy weekend. It wasn't like it was Super Bowl Sunday. There was college basketball on, but still people are going to be attending the auction or at least putting bids in. They had a week long. There weren't power outages all across the United States. There weren't big issues. I would expect that it would be a regularly attended auction for them. They have them every Sunday and every Monday, so it's something people are used to. And yet it sold for a fraction of value, sold for $400 when recent sales average out to $720. The only conclusion, other than it being an anomaly, that I can come to is that people are really feeling the pinch. People go and just got their house heating bills, and they were a couple of $100 more than they should be. And people went to the gas station and filled up their tanks, and that was $50 more than it should be. And they went to the grocery stores and they spent $50 more than they should there. And they're looking at it and saying, I can't make a purchase on something or other like a comic book because I don't have the extra money this week. I hope that's not the case, but I fear that it is. And if that's the case, that leads me to 2 conclusions. Number one, how long will our sales on eBay remain robust? And what must we do in order to keep them up? Do we need to run sales? Do we need to just list a lot more stuff? Exactly how do we keep the money coming in is part one of that. And part two of that, and this is the other scary part, is this going to finally drop the bottom out of the market for comic books? I know a lot of people have been looking at the prices things have been going for a long, long time. And just to let you know, the $400 in that grade is slightly above price guide value. Now, you know as well as I do, price guides are a lot of times antiquated, but it's slightly above price guide value. But you add in the grading fees and that sort of thing, and it's right where it should be according to price guide. Now, things have been going quite a bit higher than price guide regularly lately, but it makes me wonder if this isn't the first shoe to drop in it for this comic to go like this. And I will definitely be keeping my eyes on comics in the future and letting you know on the live show Wednesday, 7:30 p.m., any other changes that I see. It might be the time, if you do have some higher level comics, things like that, now might be the time to throw them up and sell them if you've been holding on to them, because you'd want to be able to get the money out of them rather than waiting for everything to cycle around again. And, you know, sometimes those cycles can take 10, 15, 20 years. I know the 1990s were the last time the card and comic market were anything close to this hot, and that, you know, it took about 30 years for it to cycle around. If you've got a long time horizon, you don't really care, you know, buy up, save the stuff, and at some point everything will continue to increase in value. But if you've been sitting on it wondering if it's the time to sell, you might want to start keeping an eye on things and maybe put a couple of items up as trial balloons and see how they go. Because again, I'm stunned that I was able to buy it. I put in a keep 'em honest bid, and I ended up winning it. So I certainly will continue to put keep 'em honest bids in and hope that I'm not winning 10, 15 items a week, because at some point I'll have to lower my keep 'em honest bids too. So hopefully this has helped you some. Do comment down below your experiences and your thoughts, and mainly your thought as to what this means. And like I said, it's a regularly traded comic book, and a 7.5 is not a bad grade by any means whatsoever. And it's historically gone for about $720 within the last 9 months. And for it to go for just under $400 is frightening, but I want to hear your opinions on that as well. So do comment down below on whether you think this was just a one-off or whether it's the way things are going to be going in the future. And if you feel it's the way things are going to be going in the future, what are some ways that we can all protect ourselves? So hit the like button if you could, and I'll see you next video.